Welcome.
From Long Island to around the world.
Listen everywhere you go.
FM,
HD,
Amazon Echo,
Google Home,
the TuneIn Radio app,
the iHeartRadio app,
and nccradio.org.
the voice of Nassau Community College.
This is the award-winning 90.3 WHPC.
WHPC HD, Garden City.
on the air, everywhere.
Welcome to another edition of From the Press Box. I'm Rob Leonard. Joining me, of course, is my brother and award-winning sports writer, Tim Leonard.
How you doing?
Abbott and Costello thing, Tim.
Yes, I remember.
It's almost like the Yankee game has ended like 15 minutes into the show, and then all of a sudden they just go to,
Abbott and Costello.
Abbott and Costello, and they'd be talking to Mr. Fields or something. Remember they had a monkey on there too?
Yes, brother.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Your phone is messed up.
Oh, there's a lot of things wrong. There's a lot of things wrong with me. So why shouldn't the phone match it?
Yes, bro.
516-572-7440. That's the number to call. We'd love to hear from you. We have some Long Island Duck tickets in the next segment to give away.
Awesome.
And we will do that.
People already joined the Facebook Live, by the way.
Oh, good to hear.
Our sister, Jason Levy. I don't know who that is.
Jason Levy. Yeah, we
Probably
know
a
Jason.
friend of yours.
Jason from Yellow Book.
There you go.
So, hello, Jason.
Before we get going, brother, I would like to just take a moment to extend my my highest and most sincerest congratulations
to me,
to my friends Terry and Matt Cunningham, who got married over the weekend.
These aren't our cousins, the Cunningham.
No.
Other Cunningham?
Alarm friends.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Nice. Nice. So when I tell them to listen to this, and they have you saying, "Who cares?" That's going to be very, very heartfelt.
I'm sure they'll be there with each other forever. No, I hear Cunningham. I think of the
yes, I
North
understand
Carolina
that.
Cunningham.
I understand that, brother. But Terry and Matt, you should know there's not a Matthew Cunningham in the family.
The great Dennis Cunningham, or
the boss.
The boss.
The boss.
He gives himself the name the boss. He gave it, right?
He gave it to himself. Yes.
That's a great nickname. I'm the boss. I still call him the boss.
Of course, yeah. I gave him a sweatshirt and said the boss.
I know. Anyway, we talk sports every Monday, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. It turns into a podcast on Spreaker.com and everywhere else too, iHeartRadio, iTunes, etc. Anyway, brother, I don't know where to start.
Start anywhere you like.
Because Aaron Judge is a pretty big deal, what happened to him.
He's a very big deal, Aaron Judge.
But
6'7", 282 pounds, a big deal.
I'm thinking we start with the Hall of Fame induction, which
Hall of
happened
Fame.
yesterday. Up in Cooperstown, which you've actually been to.
Yes, I have. A couple times, more than once, as a matter of fact.
And you actually loved. Who's your favorite speech you've ever seen?
Phil Rizzuto. That's the favorite speech anybody's ever seen.
Of course,
the scooter. He gave such a scooter speech. It was priceless.
If he only had a piece of cheesecake or something, or a cannoli. I'm sorry,
cannoli.
And been on the GW Bridge 10 minutes before he finished.
Wow. From there, it would have taken a little while to get to the GW.
Yeah.
From up in Cooperstown.
So I've always wanted to go there, but I also know during Hall of Fame weekend, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't.
But that's when everybody thinks to go there. But
right.
It's I'll tell you what. Anybody going to Cooperstown, I'm going to tell you this, and please commit it to memory. You will be driving west on Route 20. Please obey the speed limit signs. Yeah, it's one of those roads where it's 55 and you're cruising and doing everything, and then it goes through a town and the speed limit cuts to 30. And that's how that town makes their money. They pull over probably every third driver that comes through.
Yeah, well.
And I've heard so many friends of mine who got tickets, and I made sure that when I saw that speed limit as I was coming up, I jammed on my brakes.
Right.
Because they weren't getting Tim Leonard. But please commit that to memory. Otherwise, you will become one of the suckers.
Well, they're waiting for you. But I've always wanted to go there. I've always wanted to go to a ceremony. I always wish, looking back, that since God knows, Piazza was there, but I would have liked to have gone when Tom Seaver went in.
You should have.
Yeah,
I don't know why you didn't.
I don't know.
You make the effort, brother. You got to make the effort to get up there.
You don't think about it at the time, and now
it's from here. It's a good 4-hour drive.
Yeah, that's probably why.
That's it's an effort.
It's not like it's to fly in either, right? Yeah.
You know what? I don't even know what the closest airport is.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you. I mean, maybe Rochester? I don't even know. and then it's probably an hour's drive from there.
Yeah. So, anyway, Chipper Jones, Tommy Guerrero, Trevor Hoffman, Jack Morris, and Alan Trammell were inducted.
Big class.
That's a very big class, actually. Actually, almost too much because it takes away the focus.
No, there's never too many.
Well,
it's always good to celebrate greatness. Sometimes you celebrate more greatness than other years. That's what it's all about. I don't know what you're doing.
I'm just scratching my shirt.
You're on the Facebook Live.
I know. There's something on my shirt. I don't know what it is.
All right, I'm going to put the Facebook Live on me.
Okay, whatever. We're on Facebook Live, too.
Go
Go to my page on Facebook, and you can watch us on live. So anyway, all these guys, I'm shocked. I mean, Chipper Jones, yeah, I guess. Did he bring up Shea Stadium in his speech?
I didn't even see his speech, but I'm sure he did. I have absolutely no doubt that he did.
I don't understand his obsession with Shea. I mean, I know Met
well,
fans
he hit. He was a fantastic hitter at Shea Stadium. You know what? The other thing, I'll mention this right off. Chipper Jones is expecting another child. I think the woman who was his third wife. I don't know. Chipper Jones had a lot of wives.
Okay.
He is planning on calling this child Cooper after Cooperstown.
Well, that makes sense.
So, but that's why he named his first son Shea, was because he was a great hitter at Shea Stadium, and his kid isn't the only person in the world named Shea. I mean,
that's true.
The Yankees had a prospect who was named Shea Morenz. So it's not an unheard of name.
And people do name their children after ESPN, too.
Well, I don't know about that. That was like to try to win money or something.
No, I think
somebody named their kid Espen.
Espen, yeah.
Yeah, but there's also I think it's also like a Swedish name or something.
Really?
Like for real, because there was a basketball player named Espen at some point. I think he played for Michigan, maybe.
Anyway,
or somewhere in the Big Ten.
Chipper is 40. Don't tell me what to do.
I'm trying to get you on mic.
I am on mic.
No, you weren't on mic.
I was on mic. Anyway, Chipper's 45 or 46. He could still be playing, I guess.
No, he couldn't be playing.
Couldn't do
No.
Couldn't do
No, 46. No.
Designating hitter.
No. Designated, not designating.
Well, designating. I like designating.
You're off mic again.
I am not off mic.
Yes, you are.
I am like this. No.
Yeah.
This is okay.
No.
If I'm over here, then I'm off mic.
Well, that's practically what you're doing.
If I'm over here, I'm off mic. If I'm
I'm
like this, I'm on mic.
I'm trying to let people actually hear your voice.
You don't just talk like this. Oh, yeah, like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
you for whatever the hell that was.
I'm just trying to explain things to you. So anyway, would you voted for all these people, brother?
Yes. Yeah, I would have. Chipper Jones to me was a no-brainer. Jim Thome was. I know some people didn't like Jim Thome's his credentials, but this guy was one of the all-time great sluggers in baseball history. And there was some whispers about performance enhancers with Thome, but Thome's one of those guys who's always been big.
Right.
When he came up, he was a big dude. He was like one of those like big farmer kind of guys that like one of those big Midwest corn-fed 6'2", 240 or whatever he weighed.
They throw a lot of bales of hay.
Just like a big dude, and to hint at anything with him involving performance and anything, it was ridiculous because he was always big. It wasn't like all of a sudden like Barry Bonds that he just got enormous. Jim Thome came up and he was like, "Damn, it's a big dude."
Well, look at Barry Bonds' baseball card for like 1991 or something. He looks like he's 10 years old and he has no head.
Look, I mean, if you look at any player's card from his early days, the guys grow. You get bigger as you get older. You're working out more. If you look at Derek Jeter's rookie card, he's a stick. But there's a difference between gaining weight in a natural way from weightlifting and doing what you're supposed to be doing as far as training. You're going to put on maybe 30 pounds over the course of whatever, it's a couple of years or whatever.
Your head shouldn't look like that.
Barry Bonds put on way more than that.
His head looked.
His head grew.
I know.
They had to get a different helmet for him. I mean, that's unnatural. That's my point. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. Is that when Jim Thome never had that kind of growth spurt.
No.
As a player, like I said, always big, great slugger, and always a guy who he drew a lot of walks as well. Wasn't a three outcome guy in Adam Dunn mold where it's either walk, a home run, or a strikeout. He was actually a pretty decent hitter too, but the home run was obviously his calling card.
Thome batting average. I got the numbers in front of me.
Yeah, good job, bro.
276.
Yeah,
over 22 years.
Isn't great, but it's certainly not bad.
But then again, the last 5 seasons he didn't play more than 71 games.
Yeah, but that's you're talking an older guy. I mean,
Yeah.
how many seasons did he play?
22.
And how old was he in those last seasons? He was in his 40s.
Yeah, he was.
So
42.
let's not expect a 41-year-old man to hit 40 home runs.
Yeah, he was with
That's unnatural, except for Barry Bonds.
he was with Cleveland most of the time, then Philly, then the White Sox, and then he really did bounce around.
Yeah, but I mean that was part of that was because, especially like the last decade of his career, he was a DH.
Right.
And if you're a DH, you're not necessarily going to have a job or a guaranteed job for an extended period. Because if you're a good defensive player, then teams are going to keep you around more likely.
This is why he's in the Hall of Fame. 612 home runs.
Yeah, 612 home runs. That's a lot of home runs.
But only 2,328 hits.
It's not horrible.
That's
Although for somebody who's played 22 years, I know what you're saying. I
Yeah.
mean, you're talking about an average of like 110 hits a season.
right.
But
like I said, the last
did he have any seasons with 200 hits? Probably not, because he wasn't really an average kind of guy.
No, he never. The closest he got was 157.
Yeah, which certainly isn't great. But I mean, if I had to guess, and I'm just guessing because I'm not looking at the numbers, he probably never hit 300. I would assume that that's the case. But that being said, he certainly did hit 40 home runs in a season.
He did hit. He hit 300 in.
He did.
1995
That's
and
shocking.
1996.
Wow. All right, that surprises me.
And in 2002.
All right, but he more than likely hit 40 home runs several times in a season.
40 home runs. Let's see, 97.
All right, we don't need to know every
Okay,
year. Just he did many times.
Four.
All right.
5.
So, but that, like I said, that was his calling card. He wasn't the 300 hitter. He wasn't the guy punching doubles to left field
but,
or
this is
opposite
where some of the stats have changed over the years. It
Yeah.
used to be 3,000 hits automatically in.
field. Still is. That still is.
Is it 600 homers for?
It used to be 500. Now, I mean, it's not necessarily 600 still. Although, I mean, obviously A-Rod has 698, and he's never getting in.
You don't think he's getting?
He's people think of him as twice with the PEDs, not just once, twice.
Yeah. that's
So
true.
if Sosa and McGuire don't get in, then A-Rod's not getting in, which is a shame.
And Palmeiro too.
Well, but Palmeiro isn't in that class as a slugger, but it's the same kind of situation.
Okay.
So Vlad Guerrero, we're just going to go down a list here. Vlad Guerrero, one of the most fun players to watch, in the sense that here was a guy who, in terms of hitting, did so many things wrong. He was a guy who, you want to look for a certain pitch. You want to work a count and cause the pitcher to throw you a strike in your happy zone, as they like to call it.
Right.
Vlad Guerrero was a guy who swung at anything. Ball up in his eyes, he didn't care. Swing at it. He once got a single on a pitch that bounced to home plate,
Like Yogi Berra.
like a cricket player. It was ridiculous. Pitch bounces into the plate. Vlad just dug it up. Pitch bounced. It skipped. And Vlad Guerrero still hit it and smacked a single in left field. It was ridiculous. The announcers were laughing hysterically. It's like this guy, he would swing at anything, but, I mean, I don't know, what's his career average? It's got to be at least 290.
Career average is
Probably 300.
318.
Yeah. How do you hit 318 when you swing at anything?
And you know what? He played 16 seasons. The first season was 9 games, but everything else is a pretty full season, actually.
Yeah. He was a guy who was healthy. Cannon for an arm. Absolute cannon. He could throw as well as anybody playing right field. He was a guy you do not run on him. And that's speaking of Aaron Judge before, that's what Aaron Judge is becoming.
A cannon?
Cannon in right field for Aaron Judge. Very underrated cannon, too. He threw out that guy a month or so ago at home plate. The throw was timed at 100.3 or something like that.
Wow.
That's a cannon.
That is a cannon.
All right, and that was easy gas that he was throwing, too. So, but Vlad Guerrero, like I said, one of the more fun players to watch, just because he wasn't this robotic player. He showed you he was having fun out there. He did so many things at such a very high level, but he was also having a great time. And he was this guy who you look at him, and so many times during the course of whether it's a game, a season, or whatever, you'd look at it and say, how does he do it?
Right.
Like, how does he swing at such garbage pitch? How does he swing at a pitch that's an inch off the ground and still smash a double to the gap?
How did Yogi do it?
Well,
Yeah.
but I mean, players like that are rare.
Right.
It's
Let's
you